Hey, you guys, welcome back to the podcast. We're going to dive right into season 4 of Barry, episodes 1 and 2. Yikes. And that's literally what the first episode is called, Yikes, which should kind of tell you, I think, what we're going to be in for this season. I just want to get straight into it because literally we have two episodes to discuss. Thankfully, HBO Max released the first and the second episode on the same day. So if you guys didn't know, it premiered last Sunday. I don't know if it's the same case with if you watch the show on HBO like on cable. I don't know if they showed both episodes, but if you have a subscription to HBO Max and that's how you're watching the show like I am, then you got to see the first two episodes of season 4, which was really good. Crazy, but really good. Um, I'm so excited that the show is back. You guys know, or if you've been watching me, then you know that I'm a huge fan of the show, and I've been looking forward to this literally since season 3 ended last year. So to kind of come back and be able to talk about the show again is just like, it just feels crazy that was a year ago. It just feels like a full circle moment for me, I think. Um, but yeah, I don't even know where to start because, like I said, there's two episodes we have to discuss. But I will say that I'm glad that they released both at the same time because the first episode is literally only 25 minutes, so it's pretty short. It goes by very quickly. And I think had they just released the first one and then we had to wait, tomorrow for the second one, that would have been such a tease. So I'm glad that they kind of did both because I think episodes 1 and 2 went hand in hand, and it kind of just felt like one big episode because, of course, when I finished watching episode 1, I immediately clicked to the second one. There's no way I was not going to watch the second one, so I'm kind of glad they did it that way. Um, Hopefully, if you guys are tuning in, that you've seen the episodes as well, because I'm going to be talking about details of the episode. So there's going to be spoilers, just letting you guys know. If you don't want it to be spoiled, pause this. Well, this is live right now, but if you don't want this to be spoiled for you, I suggest going back to rewatch the um, first two episodes and then coming back to my video. My videos are always uploaded on YouTube and the audio is uploaded to Spotify, so that way if you missed the live, you can always go back and rewatch my podcast episodes or even some of my old ones. Last week I did sort of like a recap of season 3 to kind of gear up for season 4, so if you missed that, you can go back and check that out on my page. My YouTube page is just called Tiffany TVscape. Same thing with Spotify. I'm sure if you just look me up, you should be able to find me. And yeah, so hopefully you have seen the episodes if you're watching this. If not, I'm gonna get into it. So, episode 1, titled "Yikes," it like I kind of figured, it immediately picked back up where we left off at season 3, and season 3 ended with Barry getting arrested, right? So, Kusino and Jim Moss, which was Detective Moss's dad, they pretty much teamed up and got Barry caught, basically. So he was going to the house to kill Jim Moss, if you guys remember, because that was his way of like protecting Kusino. And he was going to shoot that man. And the cops said, hold on now, we got you. So he's been arrested. He's been taken to prison. And literally, the first scene of season 4 is they're in the prison and it's showing the guards and they're watching TV, they're watching the news actually, and you see a person in the background walking, and I just like immediately knew that was Barry. But what confirmed it for me was the news was talking about, they were, it was kind of like playing in the background, but you could hear it, and it's like Barry Berkman, 44-year-old man arrested for the charges of blah, blah, blah. And the cops are sitting there and they're like, wait a minute, like that's the dude that we just brought in. He's on the news. He's on TV. Like what? And it's funny because like the way they're saying it is if they're kind of excited about it, or like as if he's like, a star coming into the prison. They're like, wait, he's on TV and now he's here. So that was kind of like a funny moment. So I think immediately the show started off, obviously, like I said, it's a serious, intense situation now that he's been arrested and he's in prison. But you were hit with that comedy, and I was like, yes, this is what I've been wanting for the show. As much as I love season 3, it was just super intense, and there was hardly like any comedy in it, and I understand why, because it was just so much there was just so much bad happening that it was like if you tried to fit in something funny, maybe it wouldn't have worked maybe. So that was kind of what I was saying before season 4 came out, that I was, my wish was that like they're able to bring back the comedy a little bit, because I was kind of missing that. They had that in season 1 and season 2 and they did it really well. But since the acting class is no longer a part of the show, I think that, that really changed the dynamic and everything. So I was immediately like, yes, we're bringing back comedy season 4. Let's go. Let's get that Emmy for a comedy series, okay? Um, so yeah, that's how the first episode starts off, and like I said, for this season, I think I was just ready. Like last time, I was like, oh, I'm so nervous and scared to watch it, but I was like, dude, let's get into it. Like, click play, and I was watching it. Um, and so what I kind of wanted to do, I guess, for this recap was talk a little bit about how Barry's arrest has affected each character, mainly the core, Kusino, Sally, and Hank, how how they're feeling the effects of it and what it's kind of doing to their own personal lives. I think that was kind of the I feel like that was kind of the theme of the first 2 episodes, and it's, I guess that's gonna play out for the rest of the season. And what's interesting is I was listening to like Bill and some of the cast members talk about the show before the episodes were released, and I remember Bill said in a couple of interviews that like the way, people were asking like, so what can we expect for season 4, what's going to happen, without spoiling anything, and he would say, I think everybody is like catching Barry's disease, or everybody has Barry's disease. And I was wondering what he meant by that. Like, I didn't understand it because obviously the episodes hadn't premiered yet, but now that they have, I think I see what he's saying. And you guys can let me know if you agree, or if you see it that way, or if you have a different perspective. But I think I really see it with Sally, unfortunately, and I think that's only going to continue to get worse. So it looks like her trajectory or her storyline might be bleak this season. I was hoping for good things for her, but honestly, it was like after what happened in season 3 and the fact that she killed somebody, I'm like, that's gonna stay with you. There's no way she's gonna be able to just get over that. So it's gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna manifest some kind of way. Even if she looks to be okay on the outside, it's gonna affect her. So yeah, I think we're already seeing that in the first 2 episodes, and a little bit with Hank, and then a little bit with Kusino. But I just feel like it's really heavy with Sally for sure. So let's see, where do we even start? Oh my god. Um, I think I want to start with, what? Let's just deep dive into Sally, okay? Because her story is, I think, learning a little bit more about her backstory. It's good because it helps the audience, I think, to understand her character a little bit better. And I think for me personally, it helps to kind of have more like empathy for her and compassion, because I know, like, for a lot of people, they're like, Sally's really annoying, and she's, a lot of people like didn't really vibe with her character. Me, and I was actually one of those people, especially like in the first season. But I think, especially after season 2, we kind of saw that like she has an abusive ex-husband, and then obviously like it was just really sad that like she went from being with one violent man to another. Even though Barry has never like hit her, he's still abusive, in pretty much every other way. So I think after that, I kind of looked at her a little differently. But I understand too why people are like, oh gosh, she's so, because she's very self absorbed and everything. But I think with these first 2 episodes, we really see where that comes from and why she is the way that she is. So I like that this season is it's looking to be very character driven. So I think we're going to learn a lot more about Sally's past, maybe even a little bit more about Kusino's past, and I don't know if they'll do the same thing with Hank. I think Hank is. I feel like with his storyline, it might be a little bit more focused on the present and how what happened with Cristobal and everything, like how that's affecting him, now, and then just how everything's gonna get tied back into like Barry and everything. So I don't know, but with Sally, it was so. It's really like sad and heartbreaking, but it's just so like interesting and fascinating to watch. Um, the like the relationship between her and her parents, and just how like her mother is like, let's talk about it, because when I saw that scene, I was like, really, like, why is she not, it was like her mom just didn't believe her, or her mom just didn't, it was like her mom was focusing on the wrong things instead of the fact that like her daughter was clearly having a panic attack and cry, like literally crying out for help. Like Sally actually said to her, I need help. Like I think I'm in trouble. Um, and I guess for anybody that is watching this and you haven't seen the episodes and you just kind of wanted to know, just to give you context, so after Sally had killed that guy in season 3 and Barry, the one selfless thing I think he's ever done, he told her to go and so she wouldn't be compromised. He didn't want her involved in that, so he told her to leave, and she fled, literally fled the state, and flew all the way back to her hometown. And so she's with her parents, and this is when she finds out that Barry got arrested, and she's reading it on her phone. It's like this whole article, and she's like, oh my god, like my ex-boyfriend, the guy I've been dating, is a murderer, one, and two, he killed my acting coach's teacher, who was a cop, or who was a cop. And not only that, but I was there when he killed her, and she didn't even, like, because that's crazy. Could you imagine finding out that, like, somebody was murdered with, like, at the exact spot that you were at? So obviously, like, when he killed Detective Moss, Sally was like asleep, so she had no idea all that was going on. None of them did. Nobody knew. For the longest time, everybody thought that Detective Moss had just disappeared, and then they found her body in the trunk of that car. And I think the excuse, or the thing they came up with, was that she was probably killed because she was investigating the big mob war that was going on between the Chechens and the Bolivians. And so they were like, well, she got involved in that, so they probably took her out, not knowing that it was Barry. So that's what everybody's been thinking this whole time. So now she's finding out all this stuff all at once. Like, my ex-boyfriend is a murderer. He killed my acting coach's girlfriend, and who was also a cop, and he also killed her while I was sleeping, like in the same house on the same property. Like, that's crazy, I think anybody would freak out if you found that out. So she's like full blown, like, panic attack, having a mental breakdown, and her mom is sitting next to her in the car, just like, girl, you're over exaggerating, you're doing too much. Like, she didn't say that, but that was like the vibe that she was giving off. And I was like, why is her mom not trying to help her, and her mom was like that literally the entire time that Sally was there, and I didn't understand that. And um it was frustrating, watching that. So I was just like, man. And at least, with her dad, I think with her dad, like, he was trying to help her, and he was trying to be supportive, but even when he was trying to, it just still wasn't good enough. Like, it just wasn't helping her. So I kind of give him credit for that, I guess. But both of her parents are really just like, I don't know what their deal is. But watching that interaction between them, and the fact that she was, like, literally crying out for help, and clearly she's going through it, and her parents are not, they're not really being parents, I guess. And and what was really messed up was, there was a part where they were watching her show. So her show has been canceled now, but all three of them were sitting on the couch, and she was sitting in between her mom and her dad, and they're watching her TV show. And the dad's sitting there, he's kind of smiling, like, trying to be supportive, trying to enjoy the show. And her mom is just like, just very judgmental, and just not good energy, not good vibes at all. And I think there's a scene in her show where she mentions Sam, who was her ex-boyfriend, or her ex-husband, I should say. And the mom is like, "Oh, you said Sam's name, like, you use his name in the TV show?" And Sally's like, "Yeah, but I didn't say his last name. Like, people don't, people don't necessarily know who that is." And her mom is worried about that. I'm like, "Girl, your daughter is right there. Like, why are you worried about her ex-husband, who abused her, by the way?" And I don't know, maybe she doesn't believe that. I don't know, but she was just like, "Oh, now I'm gonna have to call Sam's mom and tell her that, like, you use his name in the TV show." And it's like, you're worried about the wrong things. Like, worry about your daughter. Worry about your own family. Why are you worried about this man and his mom and everything? And Sally, like, yells at her for that, which I don't blame her. And it was just weird. It's like, that's your reaction with everything that's going on? So I guess her mom just doesn't believe her. I don't know. Or her mom just thinks that maybe she just fabricates things in her mind. But watching that, like I said, watching that really showed me that, like, this is why Sally is so why she is so self-absorbed, why she goes so hard in her career and wanting to be an actress and wanting to make it, because she wants to be seen, because she wants to be heard, because she didn't get that, I'm sure she didn't get that growing up from her parents. So now she's, like, seeking that out in her adult life, and that's the way I interpret it anyway. You guys can let me know what you think. But it was like, oh, like it just clicked to me. I was like, that's why she is the way she is. Um, and I think that's the case for a lot of people. Like when they grow up and they become a certain way, and then you're like, why are you acting like that, or why. And then you kind of see their home life, or you hear about their childhood, and you're like, oh, that's that's why. Because a lot of it starts at home. A lot of it starts with the way your upbringing was, the type of relationship or non-existent relationship that you have with your parents, and or with your siblings and things like that. So it makes sense to me, to look at it that way. So I was just like, yeah, that's why. Um, and like I said, I kind of give dad a little bit of credit because I think he's trying with her, but it's just not, maybe because like where they're from, you just don't talk about certain things, and they kind of just brush it under the rug, hoping that it'll go away and things will get better. But obviously, we know, in life that doesn't work. That doesn't help. But her mom is just so like I don't know. I was just like, I don't know what her deal is, but um, it almost comes off as like she doesn't like Sally. Like she doesn't even like her own daughter, and clearly she just didn't feel, she didn't feel supported there. She wasn't getting like what you would, hope to get from your parents. Like if you were going through something, you would hope that they would be there for you and try to help you and all that stuff, and they weren't really doing that. So she dipped. And I'm kind of getting ahead here in the episode, but because I think this is more so episode 2. It kind of feels like 1 and 2 kind of blurred together just because I watched them back to back. But she dips and um, does a really like it's a really good scene, but it's just so twisted. I'm like, Bill, you are sick for writing this scene. Um, the guard goes in and tells Barry that somebody is there to visit him, and he's thinking that it's his lawyer coming to see him. And he goes out, that area where like you could talk to an inmate on the phone and there's like glass between you and the person. So he goes out and it's Sally. So at this point, the audience, we clearly know that she's come back from her hometown, and that's, I guess that's the first place that she went. And again, it really says something that she couldn't even find any type of comfort or safety or anything like that at her own like childhood home with her parents, that she had to run back to Barry. Like that's horrible. Um and she tries to play it off as like, I'm just coming here to make sure that like I'm not in trouble. Like I just don't want to be involved in this. Am I good? Like, like let's keep that killing that we did last season a hush hush. Like I just want to make sure I'm okay. And he tells her, he kind of just tells her like in code, like she's good on that. And then he calls her out on it. He says, well, like if that's the only reason why you came, why are you still sitting here? Because she doesn't leave yet. She's still sitting there on the phone. And like I said, you can clearly tell that like she's struggling internally. And she she calls him out on it, as well as about him lying and everything like that. And then he has the nerve to say um it's I feel like I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's a really great line. It's sick and twisted for Bill to have written this line, but it's so good. He says something along the lines of, I didn't lie, I just didn't tell you what I didn't want to be true. It's something along those lines. If you guys seen the episode, then you know what I'm talking about. And I was like, whoa, like I kind of had to pause and think about that. Like that's some like grade A level manipulation. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you what I didn't want to be true. Imagine somebody saying that to you. Like, come on. And what's even crazier about it is I don't think Barry realizes how manipulative he's being. I really don't think he realizes, because his emotional like maturity level is like a kid. In certain moments in the show, you just see him turn into this little kid, and it's crazy. And that's how you know this man really needs help, like for real, for real. Like besides the fact that he's murdered people, but like his emotional maturity level is just so low. Um, and I've seen that quite a bit, not just with season 4, but just throughout the entire series. And that line just messed me up. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just like, whoa, like, because you didn't want it to be true, that doesn't make it not true. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that you didn't lie. You did lie. You omitted the truth, so you did lie. And I'm like, you have to know that you've been lying. Like you've been doing all this stuff to try to cover yourself. So what is that? That has to be lying. And the fact that he's trying to like say it wasn't that is just so crazy to me. I'm like, are you dumb or are you stupid? Like, what? But I know it's because he really like he's just really messed up, you know. Um, and like I said, that's so manipulative to say something like that to someone. But I don't think he realizes how manipulative. I don't think he does. Maybe he does. I don't know. But that's just the way I see it because I just think he's just such a little kid on the inside. And when it comes to emotional things, is what I'm saying. But he said that, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy. And and she does tell him that, like, I feel safe with you, and that's clearly why she went to go, that's the real like root of the reason why she went to go see him. It wasn't just to see like that she was, that she wasn't going to get in trouble. That was kind of the real reason. And she, she admitted that, and he loved that. Like, he clung to that sentence and was like, you said you feel safe with me. Oh, you feel safe with me. Like, he loves that, and he was like essentially kind of like begging her to keep talking to him and to not go. And she kind of um, stopped talking at that point and was kind of just like, okay, like, I think I'm, gonna go. And he was just like on the phone, like, oh my God, like that whole scene was just so intense. But it just shows you just how, like I said, how messed up he is mentally, and how complicated their relationship has become now, and just um really how screwed up both of them are, to be honest. But I obviously with her it's different because it's not like she's killing people, but it's, she definitely has things that have probably, happened to her maybe like when she was a kid, or and then the thing with like her ex-husband and stuff, and now this thing with Barry and all this stuff is just like it's just gonna follow her. Like, she's carrying that with her, and it's sad, but but it sure makes for good TV though, because it's just like, where can we go from here now? Like, what's gonna happen with her? I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Because I was going into this hoping that things would be better for her, but right now it doesn't look like it's gonna get better. So I don't know what's gonna happen with her. Yeah, I literally don't know. But her whole like her whole going back home thing and then coming back to Barry and talking with him and everything, that was like really really good. And like I said, I just really think that gave more of a an insight into the type of person that Sally is because of where she comes from and all that kind of stuff. So I enjoyed seeing that for sure. And with them, like, I don't know, I just feel like everybody's about to get caught up, and it's not gonna be good. Like, even with Barry in prison, I just feel like it's not gonna be good. And I'm also wondering too if like this whole season he's really just gonna be in prison. I mean, I think they could get away with it, to be honest, but it's also just like I'm kind of wondering if there's gonna be a point where like he breaks out or somebody gets him out, or something happens that where that he's able to be let go, which is, it kind of sounds unrealistic because it's like, if you killed a cop, like, they're not gonna let you go. But who knows? This is a TV show, so I don't know. But um I'm wondering, because if he gets out, like, I'm really about to be scared for everybody. Like, for real, for real. I'm not even joking. Then I really will be nervous to watch it. That if he gets out, but for right now, I'm just more so like really excited to to see what's gonna happen. But yeah, let's see. Okay, I think I'm sharing my screen. So I was talking about this scene where it says Sally meets Barry in prison. Should we try to watch it? I don't know if it's gonna forget it. Let's just watch it. So just to show you, and then if anybody new that is coming across my podcast and you never seen me before, you're like, what the heck is Barry or whatever. Like, hopefully this will kind of like, kind of introduce you to the show and help you to um, go back and rewatch the first three seasons and kind of just get into it, because it's really really good. I know I'm biased because I love the show and I'm a big fan of Bill Hader's work, but it really is good. So especially if you like crime shows or anything like that, if you're a fan of like Breaking Bad, it gets compared to that show a lot. Even I'm sorry, but like the first thing, I'm sorry, I have to pause. The fact that that was the first thing that he said when they picked up the phone. I'm sorry, boy. If you don't get, you know what? sometimes when I'm sorry, but sometimes when he's like apologizing and he, it's like he thinks he's being sincere, but it really makes me want to like punch him in the face. And I felt that a lot last season. Like I really did not like him last season. The way he kept like, if it wasn't apologizing, it's like when he tells Kusano, you know, I love you, right? You know, I love you. And he's like about to cry. And I'm like, bro, like, get some help for real. Because if he had said that to me, like, I would be so mean to him. Like, I'm not even kidding. I would be so mean to him. Like, at this point, after everything you've done, and you have the nerve to be like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm like, boy, you deserve it at this point. That line. Ah! I didn't tell you the part that I didn't want to be true. You are sick in the head for real. Like what? What kind of manipulative? I can't do it. That line is just so good though, but it's also like, wow, like really? What would you guys do? Tell me in the comments if you okay, if you were in this situation and your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend or whatever, you found out they were a murderer and they said, "I didn't lie to you. I just didn't tell you the part that I didn't want to be true." Like, tell me y'all's reaction. I really want to know, like, what you would say, what you would do. Would you feel sympathetic to that? Because I for sure would not. Um, oh God. Okay. I can't. Like, honestly, when I see him like that, I'm so. If this was like season one, him doing that, then I probably would be like, oh. But like at this point, honestly, I'm like, no, no. Like you've had your chances, plural, to do better, and you didn't follow through with it. And like at some point, or I guess in some instances, I understand that like Fuchs was not helping because he was kind of the one, dragging him back into like the crime world. And I understand that like he looks at Fuchs as like Fuchs is kind of like a father figure to him because his real dad's not around, and he's known Fuchs since he was a kid. So sometimes family can mess you up too, can get you caught up, even though he's not like biological family, but he kind of is. That's probably like really like the only family he's connected to. Um, so I kind of understand that, but it's just like, dude, at some point, like you got to make better decisions. And I think in season one and probably even in season two, he was really like, it's like he was really convincing himself that like he was gonna do better and that he was gonna get better. And once him getting into the acting class and pursuing that was gonna lead him on a different path where he could um, go on to be successful and marry Sally, and they have kids and the white picket fence and all that stuff, that the things that he used to have those like daydreams about. And I really think like by season two he really had like fully convinced himself that like, yeah, that's what life is going to be for me. And then he realized like, oh, I have one foot in this LA Hollywood acting class world, and then I have the other foot in the crime world, and I'm still being a hitman. You can't have both. You cannot do both and think that life is going to be great for you. Like, sir, like he's just so stupid. And I'm like, what? So that's why I just don't have sympathy for him anymore. Like at least not like how I used to in the first season, and maybe like a little bit in season two, but like season three completely killed that. Um, I know there's some people that still look at him and they're like, he just needs help. And I was like, dude, like, you have the chance to get help. And it's not like you don't have the money to get therapy. Like, you have the money to get a therapist. You didn't do that. So, um, you can miss me with that I love you, I'm sorry, you feel safe with me type ish. Like, absolutely not, sir. Get out of my face, for real. So I'm just hoping that, like, I think I'm gonna pause it there because I don't want this to get like taken down from YouTube. But I I'm hoping that she does not start to feel sorry for him, and that she doesn't get like, I mean, I don't know. I was gonna say I hope she doesn't get back with him, but then I'm like, well, he's in prison, so how much can they really get back with each other? But you know what I mean? Like, I hope it doesn't turn into her going, like, oh, maybe he really is sorry, and if this is where I feel safe, this is where I should be. No, Sally, run, girl, Run, 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 run. Get away from this man. Get away from this man. Ever since you've known him, ever since you've been with him, there's been nothing good happening besides her getting the show. But hey, that got canceled. So that should tell you something. Like, honestly, like, life lesson. When you surround yourself with people, whether it be friends or somebody you're in a relationship with or family, and you find that things are falling apart around you, that should probably tell you that, like, you're probably not around the right people. Like, I feel like that should kind of tell you that you need to move away from somebody, or you need to cut ties with somebody or something. Like, life, the universe, God, whatever you believe with, is trying to tell you that you need to, like, you need to separate yourself from someone or something, or more than one person. It could be people, a group of people, you know. um I think life is funny that way. It could tell you things, and you just have to be open to listening to it or realizing it. And so I'm just hoping that Sally does not go down that path of, like, like, thinking about giving him another chance, because she's been there already. She was in a abusive marriage, and she was, I'm pretty sure she was with him for years. So, it was like that whole, I hit you, I'm sorry, I love you, I'll never do it again. And she stayed. And then it was like the same thing over and over again. So it's like, I just hope she doesn't fall back into that pattern. If he writes that, Bill, I'm done. Like, if you write her as that, I'm so done. Um, but yeah, I just went on a whole tangent thing with Sally. I'm sorry, and I'm making this episode really long, um, but let's jump to Hank though. Let's jump to Hank. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a bit. Um, I guess maybe I should look up a clip of Hank and Cristobal, maybe, just to kind of bring back the comedy in it. I don't know. But wait. First of all, before we even get into, like, what's happening between Hank and Cristobal and their whole scheme and everything, y'all know Hank is my favorite character. So he was serving, okay? Serving in the first, well, I was gonna say the first episode. Really, first two, but I think it's the first one for sure, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and when I say he was serving, honey, I mean he had his fits on, okay? Specifically when they were in Santa Fe. And I think him and Cristobal had went out to dinner or something, and he had on, like, this hat and these glasses, and it looked like a little, like, I don't know if it's like a poncho or something like that, but honey, he was serving. Okay, I live for the outfits that he wears, and let me tell you, even though he's been through some stuff, like, he really went through it last season, he has not lost his sense of style. So I just love that about him. Like, he still dresses, he's still, like, love it so much. I love him so much. I should see if I can find that, but serving. That's just what I have to say. He was just serving. He was serving looks, okay. Um, but and it's the same thing with Hank too, where I'm hoping that he doesn't get caught up, meaning, like, he doesn't end up trying to help Barry or doing something for Barry, and then it ends up hurting him in the end, or hurting him and Cristobal or their relationship or something like that, because I I kind of feel like if anybody was gonna do that, it might be Hank or Sally that would do that. I don't think Kusino. I think at this point Kusino's. I don't think he would try to help him. But I think if somebody was gonna try to help, besides Fuchs, obviously, I think it would possibly be Hank or Sally. So I'm really hoping for them to, that it doesn't get to that point. Um, so basically, just I'm making this video long. I'm sorry, you guys, but um, with Hank and Cristobal, so they're in Santa Fe, and it's crazy because it looks like Cristobal is fine. Like, it looks like he's doing great. And I think a lot of us, like, after watching season 3, we were like, dude, what's he gonna be like in season 4? Like, is he completely damaged? But he seems to be completely fine. Whereas Hank, you could tell he's still, like, on edge after everything that's happened. And the fact that he almost lost Cristobal, and that he had to kill a couple people, and that he almost died. He was, like, locked in that cage, and it was crazy. Um, you could see glimpses of him still being on edge, and possibly having, like, PTSD after what happened. And it seemed like Cristobal was, like, completely fine, which was crazy. And him coming, he came up with this scheme, I guess, or, like, this plan, so that they could kind of get back into the game, and they could start making money again, because they don't have any men. Like, all their people that they were working with are dead now. So it's like, what are we gonna do? um And this lady tells them, like, there's a sand shortage in Santa Fe, and I guess, like, if you could get, like, your hands on the really good sand, that stuff costs a lot. And so Cristobal is like, ooh, that's an idea. Like, let's, start importing some sand and all that kind of stuff or whatever. But he tells Cristobal about it. He's like, yeah, we can do this. We just have to get these men and get this plan together, and we'll be making bank. And you could tell, like, Hank is kind of just like, okay, like, sure, we can do that. But I think Cristobal was, like, a little bit more excited about it than Hank was. Um, and there's this really funny scene where they go to, like, a Dave and Buster's, and they're having this whole, like, trying to bring two different, like, gangs or two different moms or whatever together who don't like each other, but they're trying to get them to work so that way, like, all of them can make money and stuff. And, um, and then there's a point in their, like, little presentation where Hank brings up Barry, and he's like, well, yeah, we could use him. He's a hitman, he's a shooter. We should have him on our team, on our side. And I think Cristobal is kind of, like, taken aback by that, because he's like, first of all, like, why are you mentioning Barry? Like, Barry is not here, he's not a part of this. Like, no. And I don't know what it is with Hank. I think, you guys let me know what you think. I think Hank has, like, I don't want to say like a crush, but I feel like there's, like, a fondness for Barry that he's always had since he met him. And I think he cares for him. And I guess he really does view him as a friend. And so that's kind of why he wants to get him involved. And I think Cristobal just doesn't understand that, and doesn't want that, of course. Maybe he's even a little bit jealous, who knows. But I think he's just like, no, like, why are you bringing up Barry? And then cut to, like, towards the end of the episode, this is when Hank finds out. So he's kind of, like, the last to find out of the, like, the core group, because Sally already knows, Cousineau, of course, knows, and Jim Moss knows. um Everybody already knows. So he's the last to find out, and he sees it on his phone, I think. And um or actually, no, he finds out early in the episode, and that's when he says he wants to go back to LA because he wants to help, like, break him out and everything like that. But at the end, he finds out um that Barry has, like, made some type of deal, with the authorities, and he's like, oh my god, like, we're gonna have to kill him. And it's not like a, ooh, we're gonna have to kill him because now he's making deals. But it's like a really sad, like, as if there's no other choice, no other way, we have to kill him. And that's where the second episode ended. And I'm just like, again, I hope Hank does not get caught up. Like, I really hope he doesn't. Even though I love, like, let me say, I love seeing scenes between Hank and Barry, just because it's just pure comedy, to be honest. Like, even though they're both within the same, like, crime world and all that kind of stuff, they're just complete opposites when it comes to personality. And so seeing them interact and everything, it's always so funny. But I'm just like, so part of me wants to see them come back together to maybe, like, work together, but the other part of me is like, Hank, baby, don't get caught up, because, like, when it comes down to it, Barry will always choose himself. So if something happens where they're in a bind, like, Barry's gonna choose himself. He's not gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like Hank would help him, and Barry would not. Like, Barry would not do that. He's not a true friend. I don't think he's ever really viewed Hank as a true friend. Um, Whereas Hank is more so like, like, I'm cool with you, and I'll do what I can for you, type of thing. And Barry's not like that. Barry is selfish. And if it, like I said, if it comes down to it, if he's gonna save anybody, it's gonna be himself. So I'm just hoping that, like, if they do come back and work together, or if he breaks him out or something like that, I really hope that Barry does not screw him over. Because, again, Bill, if you write that happening, we're gonna have words, okay? Do not mess with my baby Hank, for real, for real. Like, if anything, honestly, like, with this show, at this point, it's just like, I don't care what happens as long as Hank is okay. Like, I just need him to be okay. Um, of course, I want, like, him to be okay with Cristobal, but, like, honestly, if it came down to it, like, I'd rather Hank survive. I'd rather Hank be okay. Like, honestly, just have the show end with, like, Hank walking away, having all the money, and him just being happy and all that kind of stuff. Like, who cares about the other characters at this point? Like, seriously. Um, but yeah, oh gosh, okay. So let me see. I wanted to try to see if there was, like, one more scene that I could kind of show a little bit of, without me, like, really getting in trouble. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to show If you go on, I mean, if you go on YouTube yourself, you'll see that there's been a few scenes that have been posted from the first two episodes, but a lot of it is just, a lot of it's just like interviews and things like that. But I just had to show that scene with, with Barry and Sally because I thought that one was really like, I don't know, that one just stuck out to me in particular, and the fact that he said like what he was saying to her, and I think that one was just kind of, I don't even know what the word is for it, but I don't want to say moving, but it was just like, whoa, you know? Let's see. I'm really trying to see if there's another scene that we could kind of like watch together. Um, but I don't know. I wanted to try to find. What I really wanted to try to find was that scene where he had that outfit on, because like I said, serving. Also, maybe I could look it up on Google to see, just so I can show you. It's just like a picture at this point. Like I just need y'all to see what I'm talking. I think I found it. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. It's not showing like the full outfit, but you're kind of getting like a look of it because baby, he was serving. I know I keep saying that, but he really was like for real, for real. Let me see if it'll show up on here. I know, I'm sorry, y'all. I just have to show you this. Like, this was honestly just one of the best parts when it just cuts to Hank and you just see him in these outfits, and it's just like you just never know what he's gonna be wearing. And a lot of times, like his outfits really aren't that, like it's not like his outfits are outrageous or anything. It's never really anything too crazy, but it's just funny considering what he does for a living and the fact that he dresses that way, because it's like literally no one else that he works with dresses that way, and it's just so him because it fits his personality so well, but it's just so different from the type of work that he does. And you wouldn't think, obviously, like you wouldn't think somebody that's involved in that would dress that way, and I think that's what makes it funny, but it's also like it's just so fab. Like I'm into it, you know. um Okay, here's this article where it kind of shows it a little bit. So let me see if I can share my screen. Y'all, I'm obsessed, for real, for real. Just so y'all can kind of see what I'm talking about. Um, are y'all seeing this? But yeah, I think I'm just gonna wrap it up pretty soon. I was gonna try to look for another clip to react to, but it's fine because we'll have plenty to react to as we continue talking about season four. The new episode three, is coming out tomorrow, so you guys tune in for that. So that way, next week when we come back and we do a recap, you guys will you guys will be all caught up and everything like that. And yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot that happened the first two episodes, and I want to get into like each and every little detail, but I can't do that because it's too much. It's something that you guys have to watch. And but of course, like if there's something that I missed or something that you're like, oh, you should talk about this, please let me know in the comments, and I will get around to it for the next episode. You guys gotta let me know, like if there's specific, characters or storylines or scenes that you want me to talk about. Please let me know because sometimes I go into these podcast episodes thinking like, oh, you know what, I'm going to talk about this, and then I could talk about something completely different. So, just let me know if I'm missing out on something really good that you want me to talk about. But but wrapping up all of this to say that the first two episodes were really good, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I mean, I'm not looking forward to it being over, but I enjoy being able to talk about it with you guys, and Hopefully, like, I kind of get more people into the show, even though it's going to be ending soon. It'll still be up on HBO Max, I'm sure, and um, I'm sure you'll be able to, like, watch clips of it on YouTube. I don't know if they'll ever put the show on Netflix. If it is on Netflix, I actually don't know. Just because I know HBO owns it, so I'm not sure if they would do that. But maybe, like, if it's not on there, maybe they'll put it up on there one day, so that way people who don't have HBO Max or don't have HBO, they can watch it. Um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of cut it off there, and I- I'm excited for next episode. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're gonna see together, and then I'll be back next weekend, next Saturday, 1 p.m. same time as always, and we're gonna be talking about the show. We're gonna continue it on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you for tuning in. If you're not already, please follow my Facebook page. Um, Subscribe to my YouTube as well. And then of course you can follow me on like Twitter and TikTok and stuff like that. I try to post like clips from the podcast sometimes, but I don't always get around to it. So if you really just want to follow to see like full episodes, definitely follow my Facebook page and my YouTube. It's just Tiffany's TVscape for both. Um, and then I do have a separate Instagram page for the podcast, like I said, where I try to post little things here and there. I'm trying to get better at posting like reels and stuff, so you guys can kind of see like clips of what I talked about, for the day. But there's just a lot going on, so I try to be a little consistent with that. But um, yeah, follow me on the socials and hit me up on there if you want to talk to me about Barry or really any other TV show or movie. Um, and I'll be happy to discuss it with you guys. Or if you want to be a guest on here, please let me know. I'm always open to that. I would love to have like full discussions with other people, just so it's not always me talking, and then so I can hear other people's perspectives and things like that. I think that would make it more fun. So don't be afraid to interact with me, and yeah, like I said, we're just gonna keep it going. Tomorrow, y'all, new episode, and then I'll be back next Saturday. So get ready. Y'all better be ready because I'm coming back to talk about the show. Hope you guys have a good week, and I will see you then. Bye bye.